Hey, besties, it's Carrie. Good to see you. Thank you for joining my channel today. For all of you new folks, welcome, welcome, welcome. And to my returning lovies, thank you so much for being here as well. I am terminal doesn't mean goodbye, and that means to me I'm not going anywhere anytime soon just because I'm terminal. So I'm not going to say goodbye today. So that's what terminal good doesn't mean goodbye means. Anyway, today I just want to do an update, yes, and two, the other big thing I want to do is talk about radiation. So this is primarily addressed to people who are newly experiencing radiation in their cancer journey and to loved ones of cancer patients who have loved ones that are also either about to experience radiation or they have, or whatever, just to kind of relate to what radiation is like and all of that jazz. Just from coming from a place that, if you don't know, I mean, a little bit about my history is I have stage 4 neuroendocrine cancer. The origins are lungs, and I am stage 4. It's a highly aggressive, so atypical, and grade 3, which is the most aggressive one of that cancer. I have it in my lungs, my adrenal, I mean, not my adrenal. Yes, I do have it in my left adrenal gland and my L2, so my spine area, and a couple of areas in my mediastinal, it's right through here, mediastinal lymph nodes. So in my journey where I am is that I initially did radiation on my pelvis bone, my iliac bone last year. And for my treatments, I have done my first thing was a lobectomy, which some people get mistaken for a lumpectomy, but that is seriously not even the same thing. I had a lobectomy, which for me was the removal of a little bit more than half of my lungs with some lymph nodes in my chest as well. So removal of that, that was, a little over a year ago. And then I also had it in my remaining ovary that I had left, so in my adnexal area. So they removed a gigantic tumor that was cancerous, this cancer that had metastasized there. And then I did chemo last year, where this is all chemo hair. So this is my newly growing back with chemo curls. I've never had curls in my life until now. I'm kind of loving them. Hope they stick around. But anyway, so I did chemo last year, and that was carboplatin and etoposide. And I did 6 rounds of that, and that made my cancer stable. It didn't really get rid of a lot of areas, but it did make it stable. So then I tried lanreotide, which is a shot in your booty, but it's not really designed for my grade of cancer. So that shrunk some of the tumors a little bit, but then I started, because the side effects were so nasty for me, I started sandostatin, which is a stronger derivative of something like lanreotide, designed for only neuroendocrine cancer. I don't know if it's for other cancers too, but my understanding is it's just for my type of cancer. And that actually eliminated a lot of spots, but not all of the spots of cancer that I have in my body right now. So as of this point, I'm still doing the sandostatin shots every month. It's a shot that they do in your booty. And then I'm also doing Zometa, which is a bone strengthener IV, every month as well. I did have my port taken out because I don't want to do chemo ever again if I can at all help it. And if I do end up having to do chemo again, we'll just put in a different port somewhere. But right now, I don't even want to think about that. I still get tons of PTSD of everything from chemo and what it did in my life. And yes, everybody has their own experiences, so don't compare your experience to mine, because we're going to have the different kinds of cancer and different experiences, and everybody's different for that matter. So, you can't really compare situations, but you can have a general understanding of what it's like, and maybe what it's like for family members, if you have family members going through cancer themselves. But yeah, it's no one cancer is alike. Even if me and somebody else have the same type of cancer, that doesn't necessarily mean that we're experiencing all the same things too, especially because of origins and all sorts of different factors. Anyway, that said, right now we are doing not chemo, radiation on 3 spots of my cancer. So we're not going to do anything with the adrenal gland, though, because we're going to see if the sandostatin shot takes care of that, or if we need to do radiation again after this, then we'll do that too. But we're kind of still monitoring my left adrenal gland to see if it shrinks or whatever it does. So far, the sandostatin shot has actually started to shrink my cancerous tumor in my left adrenal gland. So maybe it'll still continue working that way, since sandostatin does a really good job at taking care of cancers in your abdomen region and below. So areas like your intestines, your spleen, your pancreas, your ovaries, just all in those areas. Think about it, belly button below. Anyway, and yes, it does work for other people too, but I don't want to go into how and why that works for them and why it wouldn't work for me and so forth. Anyway, so I'm doing those sandostatin shots. We've got a little bit of shrinkage going on in my left adrenal gland, which is great. So now we're doing radiation on 3 areas in my body. So we're going to do 2 of my lymph node tumors that are in the mediastinal area, which is right here, kind of in the middle of your chest to where your sternum goes, of which today I have extreme pain on that because of the inflammation and stuff that it causes underneath those lymph nodes, and the pressure that it does with the sternum and all sorts of stuff. It mimics a lot of pleurisy. I don't know if you guys know what that is, but pleurisy is an inflammation of the lung linings. It tends to fill your lungs, the lining of it, with water, which is super, super painful. That's kind of what this feels like, but it's not pleurisy. Anyway, so we're doing those 2 areas there, and then also my L2, which is in my vertebrae of my spine. That one is the one that causes the most pain. I can't stand for longer than a couple minutes before it's just excruciating to do so. And so we're really hoping that radiation is going to either get rid of or tremendously shrink all of the tumors, so that way it'll get rid of this, hopefully, get rid of a lot of the side effects that I'm experiencing from cancer. The goal of this radiation is not to eliminate my cancer, because even if on surface, even if all of my tumors go away 100%, that does not mean that I am no longer stage 4 cancer. It is obviously, it's metastasized to my blood as well, so I will always be carrying cancer, even if potentially it ends up going into remission at some point, which I'm really hoping that will be the case, because I would like to have a very long life. Don't plan on going anywhere anytime soon, so don't check me out. Even through hard stuff that I'm experiencing, not going anywhere. I'm still trying to live the best life that I can possibly live right now, and it's all worth it. And I know that even through hard stuff, where my self-value is and where my self-worth is and who I have around me and so forth, considering how difficult of situations it currently is for me right now. So going back to the radiation part, and later on I'm going to do like a little, what do you call it? Those little short YouTube shorts of where it's like it's kind of like a TikTok where you do like a little montage of pictures and videos. So I'm going to do that after I'm done with radiation itself, just to show you guys what it actually looks like. But for this computer, the way things go, I can't really transport um, information, videos, and things like that from my phone to download into my computer. It's just, I've tried all sorts of stuff and I'm really good with tech stuff, but it's just not working for me. Plus I don't have an extra SIM card in my phone either. Otherwise I would just take that out and plop that in and download it from there, but that's not the case. And, you know, Bluetooth isn't working for it either, so whatever. So I'm just going to do a shorts later on. But backing it up, going back to the radiation, today is day 2 of radiation. And so I'm just going to kind of walk you through what all that kind of looks like, just for new people who are experiencing this. There's always going to be a ton of nerves before you go into something like this, a lot of anxiety, a lot of what the heck is going to happen, how painful is it going to be, how am I feeling, etc. And like I said earlier, no two people's experiences are exactly the same. You can kind of get a loose idea of what it's like through people like me explaining this on YouTube, but overall, your experience is still going to be your experience. But I am going to give some little tips and tricks as we go through this as well. So the first thing when you are getting radiation, your oncologist is the person who sets that up through your radiologist. You get a radiologist selected for you. It's a radiologist that's also an oncologist. So they deal with the cancer. They're not just doing radiation for the general public. It's specifically for people with cancer in general. So you get assigned to a radiologist, and then you have your initial appointment where you go in, and they don't just start radiation right away. So you go into your initial appointment, you meet for your first consult with the radiation oncologist, and you discuss what your cancer is going, what's going on with that. And then they set you up with what they do your initial CAT scans. Or wait, no, they don't do that in the initial one, in the consultation. They schedule another appointment for that. So in that initial consultation, it's just to tell you what to look forward to as far as experiences, what areas they plan on doing radiation on, what the benefits, and blah, 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 blah. So that way you are really informed on what kind of free will choices you can make during this time, because obviously it's your body. You can decide to not do it at any time too, if that's something that you see fit for yourself. So after the initial consultation, they show you around the place, get you kind of comfy there. And then after that, they set you up for the second appointment, which is where they map your body. They get you fitted in, it's like an open CAT scan kind of a room, and they get you, they do your initial CAT scans, so that way they can have a baseline of what your cancer looks like before radiation. And then they have like this, it's like this blow up looking boat that's really for your body. They have you lay down and they actually sculpt this boat into kind of like a vacuum sealer around your body. So that way it becomes a mold of what your body is. And so that way they can get the same spots for radiation every time. It doesn't hurt or anything like that whatsoever. And during that time, like I said, they do your initial CAT scans of what your body looks like in those areas that are going to have radiation of your baseline. So that way, as you're doing radiation, they'll continue doing those little CAT scans too to see what kind of improvement and stuff like that, make sure everything's consistent. At that time, they also do little tiny dot tattoos for the areas that that they'll need to put the cameras on and the radiation. I do this because it's not necessarily cameras, it's a whole other thing, but it just, best way for me to describe it is cameras. But also so that way they can have the radiation in exactly the right spot every time. Those little dots that they tattoo on you are little markers, so that way they can repeat that every time you go in exactly the same without failure or without any discrepancies, because you certainly don't want to have radiation in the spot that you're supposed to have radiation, but then the next time you go in, you're slightly moving a different area, and then you get radiation in a different area. You don't want that. You want the right area at the same time. So that's what those little dots are for. I have 4 on my lower pelvis area that I did with my my iliac bone, that radiation. And then they added some more in that area too, because we're doing radiation on my lumbar area. So, and then because we're doing my mediastinal area as well, they put markings on me, and I just kept this on for today. And then see, like, that tiny little dot, that's a new tattoo there. And so they placed them here, here, and all sorts of areas through here. I think I have like 5 little dots that are new up here and 3 little dots that are new down below. But initially I had 4 dots down below for the other radiation. So that's okay. So you got your consultation down, you got your mapping down, and everything. So then they schedule your actual radiation appointment, the first day of your radiation appointment. Your radiologist, oncologist will have a set amount of times that you're going to be going in any rounds, I guess as they say, of radiation. For you, everybody, depending on their cancer and all sorts of stuff, size of tumors, etc., will have different amount of times based around that, and your radiologist oncologist will set that up with you of what's appropriate for your specific type of cancer. So then, like I said, you've got your mapping done and stuff. Now you're going in for the day of first day of radiation. So I'm going to give you a little heads up here too. I highly recommend during all of this to wear, if you're going to wear pants and it's winter, I suggest wearing yoga pants or something that doesn't really have any seams or pleats or anything like that. Wear something super, super comfy, cozy, because they will adjust your pants for what is necessary depending on the area that they're doing radiation, obviously. So in my case, I keep my pants on, but my top is off, but I wear one of those robes. Every person, no matter where you're getting the area done, wears those hospital robes, and they have different variations depending on what your hospital does and all that too. So they're ever so cute. So anyway, during that appointment, be sure that you don't, like me, I have these piercings. You don't have to take out your piercings for radiation. They usually just leave them in. I wasn't wearing earrings though. I could have, but I wasn't wearing earrings during radiation. Quite honestly, I feel like they're really uncomfortable when you have to hold still for a certain amount of time without moving whatsoever. I just don't want anything in my way. So having anything, either wear posts or something like that that's super comfy, doesn't catch on clothing or anything like that. The radiation appointments themselves, it takes longer for you waiting in the lobby and for them to adjust you into the right spot for radiology or for the radiation treatment than the actual radiation takes. Radiation is pretty quick. So, and the actual radiation session doesn't hurt itself. The side effects of it can, depending on what you are having done. But again, everybody's different for that too. But during that time, ask the tech people that are doing your radiology or your radiation, sorry, ask them to turn on your favorite music. For me, the best relaxing music is native flutes. And of course, everybody's different. Whatever it is that's going to make you feel like you just want to take a nap and chill out and check out. Whatever kind of music works for you, cool, go with that. Ask for them to put on your favorite, whatever kind of music. And then also ask them to bring you some hot blankets too. It's more cozy that way. They just want you to feel really cozy while you're getting your session done too. So I highly recommend that, whatever you need to do to be comfortable. And because for me, I struggle with such anxiety and I'm going through a lot of stress right now. I needed to take an Ativan before doing the sessions itself. So, every time you do radiation, it's going to look like that, of where you start with your initial appointments that isn't getting radiation done, and then you start your radiation appointments, and you'll set up the times with your radiologist of where it works for you guys. You'll pin something down, and for me, I'm doing 10 sessions, business day back to back. So not on the weekends, but Monday through Friday, that it allows. So, yeah, we do that. Today is day 2. Radiation is a cumulative, so you don't necessarily start feeling the side effects on day 1. As the radiation builds up in your body, that's when you really start feeling a lot of the side effects. And for me, the one side effect that hits immediately for me, depending on where I'm getting it done, and in my case, it touches my intestines and things like that, because it goes through we do it from the front, but it's touching the radiation goes to my lumbar, my lower back area. So for me, this one of the quickest side effects that happens for me is I have a bit of inflammation in my intestines right now, and so it gives those side effects, the bathroom kind of side effects that are not fun, but it's not as bad as chemo, but it's still kind of uncomfortable for me. And you get a super, and everybody's different, but for me, I get a super, super heavy tiredness that goes with it as well. And because we're doing it on my lymph nodes in my chest, I have a little bit of a sore throat from it too, and heavy pressure going on in my chest as well. But also, you tend to get one of the side effects of radiation is that you tend to get a little bit of what feels like a sunburn in that area too. And that's in through the entire areas that you're getting radiation from. So we'll have to see with the long-term side effects, see how I feel towards the day 10 versus today, day 2. But right now I'm feeling super exhausted. I'm nauseous because it does go through there. Also, I'm under tremendous stress right now. And then the radiation itself. So, and I'm unbelievably tired. So that's what radiation looks like. I suggest that you have somebody go with you to all of your appointments, not only as a safety blanket, but also who knows how you're going to feel after radiation and if you'll be capable of driving or not, or, you just got to be really super protective of your self-care space. So make sure that if you can, have somebody take you to and from your appointments. And I think that's pretty much it. So be sure to wear super comfy clothes, things that are easy to remove. I wouldn't do any buttons or anything like that. Just think yoga or jammies or whatever, super comfortable clothes. And then they'll have you leave one part of your areas of clothing on and then the other off, but you always get a robe too, so it's not like you're going in naked. Okay, so we got the comfy clothes. As far as piercings, facial piercings, you can keep those in. But again, make sure that for your earrings, if you have them, keep it super comfortable. So if you wear plugs, great. Just keep the post, whatever version that is. But just whatever makes you super cozy, comfortable. Also, warm drinks are really, really nice to have with us too, for whatever you prefer. I think that pretty much wraps it up. So it's going to be during your radiation time a whole lot of self-care, a whole lot of self-love, surrounding yourself with a ton of love and light, trusting God, trusting the process, and, try to think as positive as you possibly can without being, smothering of any hard details that you might be working through at the time. This does and can take some emotional toll on you, so don't try to steamroll yourself on that. Just go through it as it's meant to be, and, surround yourself with as much good stuff as you possibly can. So, yeah, that's what radiation is like. And as far as the update on the other stuff, I'll do that in another video. But I want to keep this on here to make sure that people who are new to radiation or have family members that are about ready to start doing radiation kind of have a heads up of what that all is like. And I'll keep you guys posted on that as well. If you're new here, thank you for joining me. Please hit subscribe and like. That really helps and I appreciate it. And thank you so much, besties, for returning. I love you guys so much and thank you so much for your ongoing support. I support you as well. Love and light. I'll see you next time. Bye.